I am Jacob Harris,
And I am Tim Williams.
and this is Total Physique Talk. Today we're going to be talking about Total Physique Performance. This place was opened by Tim Williams. Technically, we haven't opened. When are we opening, Tim?
Soon. I've been saying that for like 6 months, but I think it's just making sure everything's right before we do open for members.
Trying to be,
We're looking at 1st of July.
trying to be, or maybe not being a perfectionist, but being,
A picky fuck.
that's the way I was going to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can be difficult to, I guess, work that out. You may notice we are dealing with quite some rain at the moment, if you can hear it.
Coming to you from the Weather Channel.
Coming to you from the Weather Channel. We're going to be talking about this place in particular. So we're going to get straight into that because I was contacted by Tim to come and work here. And one of the reasons I was interested is because this is like a semi-private facility and the goal is to always run it that way, right? Now, the goal being coaching being probably the most important thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Education, maybe not being second, but like things like seminars and maybe you would say in-house education as well as online education being like the main goal as opposed to maybe just personal training.
Yeah, I think when I had the idea for this place, it was more so to create, well, lots of people are like, oh, you're opening a gym. I'm like, it's not a gym. It's not a gym. It's a training and education facility with the primary goal of delivering a quality of coaching service that is head and above. And I think all of the seminars and the other aspects are just add-ons to allow us to do that.
And so why would someone, or who do you think the demographic would be for a facility like this?
Now, I think a lot of people made the somewhat incorrect assumption that it was going to be for like bodybuilders or, you know what I mean, like advanced people who I guess people would see in the gym as someone who's been doing it for a long time. It's not actually the case. It's when we sort of when I came up with the name Total Physique Performance, it wasn't that it was based around athletes or bodybuilders. It was total physique, as in from beginner through to national level athlete. Doesn't matter who you are. It's total physique performance. So same thing with the gym and with the facility, because a lot of people asked me when we were opening and sort of what sort of memberships and things like that. And they said, oh, I'm probably not going to be welcome there because I'm not a bodybuilder or I'm not this. And I'm like, that's not correct. Like, we want everyone to feel welcome here. Like, I do have some clients who are complete beginners who have never set foot in a gym before. So I also have clients who are national level athletes in bodybuilding or martial arts. And the facility is for people who want to take their results seriously and want to get a decent quality of coaching service away from all sort of like I won't say negative things, but the aspects of commercial gyms that turn some people away.
Yeah, I think as well, having a client base, it's a lot of beginners and people that just want to feel comfortable in an environment to train as well can be really difficult because now people feel the need to create facilities based around that concept. I've worked at one.
Yeah.
This idea of just beginners or these like empowerment places that are kind of like, oh, this is just for people so that you don't have to go to a commercial gym and you can all kind of come here. Those models are difficult to work with because I feel like they kind of limit you and where you can go overall. So for me, I feel like a place where everyone can come and we can create that vibe and that basically that thing that they're walking into that can make them feel uncomfortable. All it takes is for someone that's maybe, like you said, I'm going to use like Nathaniel for an example, right? Someone walks in and he politely says hello to someone and introduces himself. You've created a situation in which he can do that as opposed to try to get those two people in different places.
Yeah.
Why would we separate them and say, oh, as you said, no, the bodybuilders go over here and then anyone who just wants to be a beginner or maybe they're nervous about training can go to this place. It sort of doesn't make sense when really we could bridge the gap and actually, create a place where people can get to know each other and then we're actually solving a problem as opposed to separating it.
Yeah, and I think it is. There's quite a big divide in gyms in general. You've obviously got the complete beginners who are quite unsure how to use certain bits of equipment or intimidated by like the big guys in the corner and things like that. And then you have like the bodybuilders or the people taking it really serious, like the gym junkies. And there's no reason why those two can't coexist in a facility and learn from each other. And I think we've seen that already here when we've had some of, like you say, like people like Nathaniel, competitive bodybuilders getting along with and having conversations with people who are complete beginners who are quite off-put by commercial gyms because of how busy and full on they are.
Yeah, I think as well, the structure makes things difficult. There's machines everywhere and obviously equipment everywhere, but also because of that weird divide that people have, just as something as simple as like needing to use a machine and then someone's on it, because of that divide, it's created this whole new awkward thing where, and you would get it too. I've had clients do it. I was doing my workout and then I didn't have much time left and I didn't get to that exercise because when I went to go do it, someone was on it.
Yeah.
And it's like, to me, I'm always like, did you approach them? Did you ask them like, hey, do you mind if we share this? And 9 times out of 10, people aren't. And and the problem with that is also 9 times out of 10, they don't, because the way people react is very off-putting. Like,
yeah, I definitely think it is. And I think with commercial gyms, not all, but with a lot of them, like people sign up and they sort of, I guess, enter the bullpen with everyone else on the floor, and it's sort of like a fend for yourself, like out in the wilderness, so to speak. And a lot of people that possibly, if they saw each other outside of the gym, would talk to each other just fine. But inside that gym setting, like, oh, that person is advanced and I'm a beginner, so I'm not going to ask to jump in with them or whatever else. But yeah, I mean, if they were in a social setting like a barbecue, they'd probably have no qualms talking to each other about anything. So I think it's breaking down people's idea of what a facility or a gym or a training facility is, and giving people that space where they can, like I say, break down those barriers that I think a lot of commercial gyms possibly put in place, not intentionally, but it just happens.
So what are some of the things that you're going to, or we're going to be doing here that will create the opportunity for that different vibe or that different community? Like obviously seminars being one of them where people can meet each other and things like that, but even just on the gym floor.
I think one of the things where music was definitely a big one. There was no debating it. I was going to spend some money on decent speakers, and obviously I believe gyms should have a certain range of music. Like obviously my taste in music is quite varied, but trying to train to certain songs just doesn't really do it for most people. And in gym culture at the moment, there's quite a lot of people with headphones, noise cancelling headphones, and that already creates that divide. Because if they're noise cancelling, you're walking past and someone says hello, like, and this person unknowingly, he's got their noise cancelling headphones in, doesn't realize, they're like, oh, that person doesn't want to talk to me, and then it starts that. So I think having the music being a decent aspect, and obviously asking people like, what do you want to listen to? Like, I mean, what sort of music you into? And obviously taking constructive feedback from members in the gym in that aspect, I think is a big one, because without the headphones in, there's a lot more conversation between gym members. And I think because the facilities, like we're not a massive facility, obviously we're 320 square meters. So I think it allows people to interact more. So they're walking past each other, and because it's not so, I've got to get in there, I've got to get it done. Like there's so many people in here, it's rush. When people come in here, we are obviously not as busy as a big commercial gym would be. So it allows people that chance to have a conversation.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. But also, as you kind of mentioned, the music, another thing is just the physical structure. Like we're obviously sitting up here now in our podcast setup that we're building, and then we've got, couches and some microwaves and kind of things that create a bit more of a homely feel. And for anyone who's excited about this, I know I certainly am. I pretty much just want to revolve my whole life around being a semi-amateur pro. That's kind of a thing, if it really is one. Basketball player, as soon as we get a hoop out the back, because I'll probably not even work out and just come here to shoot hoops.
Yeah.
Because to me, those little things, especially when we have open days in the future and stuff, create a whole different vibe, because it's not about coming to the gym to hang out, but at the same time, I think, and what you mentioned with the music's a really good example. If we head down that road of you've got noise cancelling headphones on, you're not talking to each other, they create these certain, I guess, spaces in gyms. All I can really go off is Gold's Rockingham. I remember going there and lots of there being lots of rooms and things kind of being a little bit more separated. And then the way that things are is it just creates this kind of big clinical feel to me, where it's like almost like an encouraging thing to like go to the gym, put your headphones in, do your workout, ignore people and get out. And that's, I think it's just because it's huge. We're here, and I've been in, some other places where it's been similar. I feel like you'll struggle to walk in here. Like you would struggle to walk in here and ignore people, because you will walk in and the vibe that's created will be different than that. And people will try and talk to you. And that's a big difference as well. You know what I mean? Like if you come up here to do some cardio, there might be someone sitting on the couch having their like post, training meal. It gives way more opportunity for people to talk to each other. I do feel like some places are almost created to almost help you ignore each other.
Yeah, and I think your Anytime Fitnesses and your Snaps and your Jets and all those sorts of things where it's like, okay, sign up, get your membership, don't really care about gym culture, you're just in there to get your job done and get in, get out, sort of thing.
Mm.
And we definitely don't want that. Obviously, if you catch me on a highly caffeinated day, you're probably going to have your ear chewed off. So there's, I want this place to not have that cliquey mentality of like groups where like if you're not a part of the purple circle, then like you don't fit in. But I want it to feel like this is a home for everyone. So like you finish work, you're like, yeah, I'm excited. I get to go fucking train today and like see the crew at the gym. And like, you know what I mean? Like you say, you can come upstairs after you finish training, and instead of having to jump back in your car and disappear, and you can come upstairs, microwave one of your meals, sit down and eat, or if you got some work to do on your laptop or whatever, then that's an option for you. So you don't feel like you've got an hour, then you're out. So that it is a home, and everyone's goals, opinions are all just as valid as each other. So it's not just like, okay, like we're only going to listen to one demographic. So like it's everyone. Everyone gets to say.
Yeah, well, as well, like you said, those things, and Anytime Fitness and stuff, that stuff's fine. Like if you want to pay $10 a week, have your headphones in and not speak to anyone, then I believe that's why those things exist. The same reason that if you don't even want to get out of your car, you can just go through Macca's drive-through, you know what I mean? As opposed to going somewhere and sitting and eating a meal. Like you're always going to have that difference in experience.
Yeah.
So the big thing for me that I find appealing is that, like, so the music that you mentioned, I like the seminar side of it because it's kind of encouraging people to do them, because that's where obviously you learn a lot from, and the ones I've done, I've learned a lot from as well. So one of the things you like had talked about is like if someone's a member, they will get like a discounted seminars as well. So that's like encouraging your members to be more educated and giving them the opportunity to, as opposed to be like, essentially like I feel like that's not something. I've been to gyms where they run a seminar, but it's not coming from a place of like, you are a member, let's get more educated. It's more of like hey, someone's hit me up and essentially like offered me a little bit of money. I'm going to run a seminar in my gym. Anyone can come.
Yeah, very different. And I think the idea behind the facility as a whole is to give, to say, coaching clients, members, whatever we want to call them, the best foot forward that they can possibly have. I mean, we want to give people the understanding of how to use a gym, being comfortable in the gym, obviously giving the education through the seminars and stuff like that. Like we've already run one, which was, funnily enough, largely PTs that turned up, but we are going to be doing some on like nutrition for like general population and stuff like that. And I think we want to give our coaching clients / members like first port of call. Like if you guys want to come on, you guys get first pick. So, I mean, I've mentioned this a few times that we are going to be a cap membership. So once we obviously hit a certain amount, then that'll be obviously the books closed until a space is provided. So that way that we're not getting to the point where it's like 40 people in the gym at a time trying to fight over equipment, because we're obviously nowhere near big enough for that.
Yeah, which is funny because the structure of gyms kind of, it's funny when I had this conversation once and it was kind of put to me like, there's only 2 leg extensions in gyms sometimes, and there's like 2,000 members. So gyms aren't actually really designed for everyone to come, which can be a bit of a depressing system when you think about that itself. The idea here is that if we have 100 members maximum or even 50, that sort of thing won't be a problem, and we can actually have better equipment. So we can spend more money on more specialized equipment, and then there can be education around that, and we can continue to do that sort of thing. Where I think in a commercial setting, you really do just have to, in anything that you're doing, whether you're running a commercial setting or you're running like a franchise or something, you've got to spend the least amount that you can, because why would you do anything else, right? Where this is very much centered around people are going to be paying a little bit more, but they're also not going to be able to get that side of things somewhere else, because it's just not, for most people, I mean, from a business owner perspective, I imagine most people are just happy to just run an Anytime Fitness and just get money, and that's fine.
Yeah, and it's just a churn and burn thing. It's obviously like you lose 50 members a month or whatever, then you gain 50. And I mean, if we, let's say, for instance, for argument's sake, we got 200 members as our cap and we got the first 200 and we kept that 200 for whatever period of time, I'd be happy with that, because it's not about a churn and burn thing. Like, I want to create an environment, a family sort of orientation around the facility where people, I mean, when they come in the gym, like, oh, how's your goals going? Like, how's it? I mean, have you reached that goal yet? Like, so they feel like they're welcome here and then that they are part of something. Whereas I know with a commercial gym, and this is just the way that commercial gyms are run, it's a numbers game. You know what I mean? You open a business and you got to have X amount of turnover to pay for your equipment and all your staff, stuff like that. Whereas we are run differently, where predominantly coaching is our avenue. So it's, when we have memberships here, we want people to feel like they're actually getting a decent amount of value for what they're paying. Obviously, like as you said before, like a little bit more than what a normal gym charges, but delivering a lot more than what a commercial gym does. So,
yeah. And so one of the other things, because we'll, I guess, come to an end point on this, but I want to cover a couple of things for anyone inquiring those things. So we'll just sort of answer some questions that I know people will have. Opening hours are something that are still sort of being disputed, but for the most part, I know we're looking at kind of like 6 days a week, 7 till 7-ish on like a Monday to Friday, and then just like a half day Saturday. And that's the idea and the concept behind that, is basically just so that we can essentially always be here, right? There's always going to be coaches here.
Yeah. So obviously I got asked when we decided to open this place whether we're going to do 24 hours. And I said, no, we won't be doing that. It's, with 24-hour gyms comes a lot of things that would not allow us to do. Like, for instance, like where we're sitting right now, we couldn't do that. So, and education areas and all that sort of stuff. And I think I would much rather have it as a set hour thing. So like you say, there are coaches in the building if someone needs help, or there's always people on the gym floor. So there's not that sort of like training in a morgue feeling that you can get from some commercial gyms when you go at like whatever time at night and there's just like no one in there and it feels very surgical. So definitely didn't want that. So that's where the idea of having coaches in here, like I'm almost part of the furniture. I really should go home more often, but the idea is that when people come into the building, they can see the staff, they can see the coaches, they can see the coaching team, get to know everyone and feel comfortable. Like, so that it gets to the point where they're like, oh, I'm on the gym floor, got this exercise in my program, I can't really remember how to do this. You can just poke your head in the office. Hey, look, can I get a hand for a second? And like, we want people to feel like that. Whereas obviously commercial gyms are very different in that aspect.
Yeah, people need a spot, anything like that. Simple stuff, because a lot of the time that's a big thing in the gym. Especially, I'm sure you've had it as well. It's usually with female clients for me. Female clients will have a heavy set and they just won't feel comfortable to ask someone
for sure.
Spot them or something like that.
Yeah.
So to, I guess, kind of wrap that up, I feel like we've covered like most of the main points. Is there like a wait list? So like, because people are going to listen to this now and go like, oh, okay, we're not open yet.
Yeah. So probably will in the next week or so release a wait list, obviously for like a Google form or something. All that description where people can put their name on a list. Like obviously a lot of people have shown interest and our existing coaching client base will probably get first pick. But we will release a Google sheet or a form, some way for people to put their name down to get on the short list to sign up for the first release of memberships that we do, and then obviously we'll keep another short list for following releases.
Sounds like we're going to have a lot to deal with in about a month or so.
As if I don't have enough on my plate enough, as it is already a stat more.
Well, I'm sure we can release some more information about the open days and things like that.
Yep.
But for the most part, this has been the first episode of Total Physique Talk. I'm Jacob Harris.
And I'm Tim Williams.
We'll talk to you next time.